Thank you, honorable members. Please be seated. At 6:30, we're going to take the contribution from the honorable member, Mr. Dexter Todd. Dr. Dexter Todd. Mr. Clerk, we have to update all of these titles and salutations.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it gives me great pleasure tonight to stand before this honorable House and to give my contribution in relation to this budget. You will hear me referring to this budget from here on as a statement of priorities or as a declaration of value, because that is really what it is. Before I go in depth into my presentation, Mr. Speaker, I believe it's imperative that I make it clear that on this side of the House, we are not in any way, shape, or form promulgating that the budget does not have good initiatives for the people of Guyana. Where the people of Guyana will benefit, we will support. The clear contention that we want, Mr. Speaker, to be made here tonight is that this budget does not put in order the priorities of our people. And so while there are good initiatives in this budget, the priorities of this government seems to be all over the place. Mr. Speaker, for years I have followed the parliament in this country, and I have looked and listened intently to the presentations of every single speaker. This year, Mr. Speaker, I must say how disappointed I am with the government side. Every one of them used their 30 plus 5 minutes to say absolutely nothing that will advance this budget. They made it appear, Mr. Speaker, as though we were in a political campaign. And I wish to put on record, Mr. Speaker, that a manifesto is not a national developmental plan for Guyana. And so when the honorable members on that side comes to this honorable House and make it appear as though the people of this country, and I want to make it very clear, when you talk about the people of this country, be reminded of the percentage of Guyanese who cast their votes for you. It is not a reflection of the people of Guyana. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, you cannot come to this honorable House, fail to consult with the wider community, fail to consult properly with civil society, fail to consult with the opposition, fail to consult with all entities, and present a budget and make it feel and appear as though it has national consultation. It does not. Mr. Speaker, it is important to highlight that this government from the onset should look down the line of ensuring there is a national developmental committee put in place, which is a reflection of all the entities and the different persons of interest in this country. Guyana belongs to all of us. When we listen to this debate about who got 12 and who got 16, and look at that side, listen. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. It does not matter. I want to remind this honorable house. About the various international communities, observers who came to this country and what they said about the 2025 elections. May I remind you, in case you did not read, the EU Observers Report. Do not be mistaken. Do not confuse a smooth and peaceful elections for a free and fair elections in this country. Don't be confused. And therefore, when you come to this house, the people are watching in this country. The people are watching in this country. And when you come to this house and recognize that not even the international community recognizes that this government got in power with a free and fair elections. It is not my words, the Honorable Member Attorney General. Those are not my words. You take your fight to the European observers. Don't bring it to me. But I am saying, Mr. Speaker, and I wish to highlight a few important things. And there's a reason. There is a reason I want to highlight. Because when you talk about priorities, I want you to recognize that from a legislative standpoint, what must be prioritized in this budget is definitely addressing the problems at GCOM. Now, Mr. Speaker, the observer's report stated clearly that the 1st of September 2025 general and regional elections, transparency, competitiveness, and compliance, and of course democratic standards, their final report came to this, sir. There were key structural issues. Identified. Undue advantage of incumbency due to the use of state resources and visible public project during the campaign period. You don't come, no. I am saying the election done, but the entire honorable member, the entire house over there came and tried to present, instead of advancing an argument that will move this country forward. It's about elections. It's about the amount of seats that you have. You know, Mr. Speaker, the argument this side seeks to advance is that whatever they say, that is most important. Mr. Speaker, the people of this country know that the side over there, they have enough to pass a budget. But the people of this country are listening. They're students who are here, and they want to hear a proper argument as to why. They want to hear justification as to why the amount stated in this budget must be approved. But instead of paying attention to that, they seem to attacking. Now listen, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to talk about this, and it's very important. Because throughout this debate, I have looked and I have listened to the members of the government side throw all sorts of tantrums and talk about who's moving where and who is moving there. Let me say, the APNU understands clearly it undone. It is a strong party. It is a strong party. It is a party with values. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable James Bond is a clear reflection of the government's beatdown. It's a clear reflection of that. They beat James Bond down, the honorable member, until he subjected. I was right there following James Bond when he got all the pellets in his back, fighting for the rights of the people. I was right there at his bar on the East Coast when the honorable member couldn't even open that bar properly. Every minute, the police running, they're locking him up. James Bond always at the station. You know, James Bond don't go to the station no more. Why? You must say to these people, you must say to the Guyanese people that your choice, honorable member, was an economic choice. And it was your honorable member. Don't, Mr. Speaker, it is the honorable member's right to make that choice. But even though where he makes that choice, do not look over on this side with disdain as though the people over here are not fighting for a cause. The PNC APNU has a legacy, and that legacy has always been fighting for justice and the rights of our people in this country. Mr. Speaker, so that the first priority of this budget, you talked about rigging of election, that's the only line the honorable Prime Minister has about rigging of election. You need, honorable member, to remove yourself from the past. We're in 2026, and therefore the budget must be a reflection of the government's will and the government's intention to ensure that there is electoral reforms in this country. Nothing in this budget offer the use of biometrics. The government on that side, on many occasions when they sat on this side, they promulgated for the changes at GCOM. They promulgated for how we do elections in this country. When they don't want biometrics, they don't want clean voters list. But Mr. Speaker, it is the EU's report which comes back to talk about how this government teaches and treats the people of this country. I lost my way throughout, Mr. Speaker. I'm making the point because they came and all they're mentioning is trying to remind who got 30-something seats, that's all they're doing. And they fail to recognize that the international observers saw what happened in these elections. Mr. Speaker, I want to go further. And I speak to the honorable member, Ben, Mr. Speaker, respectfully through your chair. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Attorney General has a responsibility for legal advice to government. And this whole argument about Walter Rodney and who killed Walter Rodney is very misplaced. Because I believe the advice that the Honorable Attorney General must have given to the government side is that an entity cannot commit murder, is that an entity is not responsible and cannot appear before a criminal court. So there's this whole nonsense in relation to PNC and who, Mr. Speaker, if they have the evidence, and the persons who would have been involved, let them go before a court. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Attorney General will tell them there's no statutory bar on instituting a criminal charge when it comes to an indictable charge. He will tell them that. We have never called on the PPPC that you killed Saturday or saw. We called for an independent investigation so that the culprits will be brought to justice. Therefore, don't come to this honorable house and tell people out there about, I am rebutting, Mr. Speaker. Further, this budget.
Further is a good interjection time
Yeah.
to tell you you have 5 minutes to come.
Yes, please. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. There is absolutely nothing in this budget. There is nothing in this budget which advances a legislative agenda. And when we talk about priority, I see the Honorable Attorney General smiling. When we talk about priority, the people of this country are more interested in ensuring that there are reform laws and that there are systems in place that will ensure justice for all. I bring to your attention, Mr. Speaker, I bring to your attention the matter of Adriana Young. I bring to it. What has the government learned about that matter? No, I know what they've learned. They have learned just from what the honorable member did last night. She presented a wood and asking the people on this side whether they want a wood. But Mr. Speaker, I have a gift. Mr. Speaker, I have a gift. I have a gift for them. I have a gift for them. This is what we bring. We call for justice. We call for justice. We call for reforming of the laws. This budget, this is what we bring. In case you don't remember her face, this is what we bring. We don't bring wood to insult people. We command your support. Mr. Speaker, there should be in this budget an entire reform of the criminal code, and especially as it pertains to investigation and the use of forensic science. Mr. Speaker, we have inherited from since the 1800s a Coroner's Act which is so outdated from the United Kingdom. The United Kingdom has moved past. They have moved to amendments way up to 2024. The entire Commonwealth Caribbean have moved past in relation, but Guyana stands still. They stand still. And they have moved past to ensure that the Coroner's Act ensure that there are use in relation to experts, persons who are identified to be on a national forensic authority body. Mr. Speaker, we advocate that this budget, in order that we see real change and justice for our people, will include changes in relation to those laws, so that we only building, if you are going to build, and mind you, we are not saying building is wrong, but we have to be concerned, and the priorities must be about the lives of our people. What about keeping them safe? Just yesterday, Mr. Speaker, we had a tragedy of 4 men. When I looked again as to how they handled that, it tells us in the Adriana Young's matter, in the Madia fire that killed 20 of our children, it shows that Guyana lacks the expertise forensically to investigate and to do these matters. Budget is silent on it. Budget is silent on it. It makes no provision for that. Mr. Speaker, in closing, I want to join with the call of the acting Chief Justice of the Judiciary, calling for full autonomy of the judiciary. It is time the government takes its feet off of the neck of the judiciary, because they're the ones who call the shot, because they're the ones that have to allocate and release in relation to spending. They try to intimidate. They try to speak. Look at what we have been faced in the media. Look at what we've been faced with in the media. The type of condemnation of our members of the bench. So while we are billing many other courts, we have to worry about the integrity of those judgments. We have to be worried about the ability of our members of the bench to act fairly and within the law, and without giving them full autonomy, Mr. Speaker, in which this budget does not make a priority. I do not see that will happen. Mr. Speaker, in closing, I wish to say to the honorable members, Mr. Speaker, through the convention, that this budget 2026, if you are going to be putting people first, you have to think about the human asset. That is more important. I know that James talked about building Dubais and making Guyana look like Dubais. We're not going to argue, but we want our people alive to enjoy that. And the only way they will be safe and alive is when we put them forth and we ensure that the systems and the legislations that are in place are reformed to ensure that they can benefit. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.